Check, radio check. This week's, I talked about it last week when we talked about the Gerber baby insurance. Caitlin had found that. Well, simultaneously, I had been to an event down in Kentucky a few weeks, probably, I guess it's 6 weeks ago, and ran across a strategy that I was absolutely unaware of. And only because this has happened to me personally that I felt it paramount to do a deep dive on this. Before I go any further though, for those of you on the call that know who I am, typically our calls, we're not pushing or promoting a product. We tend and try and be educational first, but quite often in the financial arena, there are times that products need to be purchased. And we just want people to understand how they work versus what they have, and then they can make informed decisions. So the first thing I want to talk about though is something that to me is a very great loss in my family. My dad's older brother, my Uncle Ron, passed away on Wednesday. And it's sad. I mean, he is one of the men in my life that helped shape me into who I am. My dad, most of you have probably did not know my father. And my father was born with retinal glaucoma. It's cancer of the eyes. And he was blind in one eye. And their mother, Tub, my grandmother, was challenged as a registered nurse to raise 3 boys as a single mom. And not only did she raise 3 boys, the oldest of which, her middle son was handicapped. And, my dad passed away about 20 years ago. But during my life, what I always knew is that my dad's brothers were always there for him. And they were cut from a cloth that I don't see much of anymore. He was not only a husband, he's a father. He's the father of my cousin Gene, who was adopted at first. And then he was able to bear 2 children, my other cousins, Holly and Brock, who he's very proud of. He helped his wife while, he had a license plate. They're from Virginia, Doc and Jock. So my uncle was the jock. He was all state in Florida before he became a Navy SEAL, played football, loved football, and turned around and, when he got out of the military and went to work for the high school, he then committed and supported his wife, my Aunt Barb, and helped her to get through medical school and become her own MD. I truly believe that had my Aunt Barb not been part of his life, my Uncle Ron would have passed much sooner. But it was her medical awareness that helped keep him as alive as he was able to be. So with that, he's also, was a brother. He was a brother to my dad and my Uncle Dave. I'm the youngest. And again, he was my uncle. And then to my other cousins. High school football coach. He also junior high gym coach. He was the one that helped me, used to go to track meets. And first time I ever saw USSR, International Intramural Sports, man. And here's Russia over here in the fields of Virginia. And, it just was, I don't know, it just showed me and gave me a lot of character. One summer, and the reason I'm spending some time here is just to sort of show my memories of a man that was great for me. And so when I was young, I was stubborn, didn't listen to my parents very well, had my adopted brother Joel and, my grandmother Tub at the time was taking us around. We were traveling a lot, but I was able to spend some time at their house. And the things that we learned were not things that we learned at my house. And we learned how to say, yes, sir. And we learned how to show respect to our elders, to care for people. He took us rappelling off a school building. Like, who does that? took us camping, took us down river rafting, down the James River, telling jokes the whole way, farting alligators, never forget it, how to make homemade ice cream. One time I had a skateboard, I was into skateboarding, and there was a big old hill by their house. And they said, I was staying there for the summer, me and my brother, cousin Gene, don't go skateboarding down that hill. What did I do? I went skateboarding. And I crashed and burned. I mean, I ate the pavement. I had a road rash down the front of me, and they bandaged me up. And all summer long, I couldn't go in the pool because I didn't listen. He had a heart of gold, tough as nails. When it came time for me to make some life choices, he taught me what the UDT Navy SEALs were. He said he was a Navy SEAL, told me what to expect in Hell Week, and I signed up to serve for my country to be Navy SEAL. I never was able to make it into BUDS because my vision was bad, but I got a tremendous direction in life from this man right here. He's an educator. He had properties. He and his wife, my Aunt Barb, had started homeless shelters for battered women. He would go in on his own time, his own dime, and he would fix these places up to help people in need. He loved dogs, and he's a man of God. I will truly, truly miss him until we meet again. So it's not how I expected to have this conversation go today, but I wanted you to know he was a great man. So since we're on the topic of death, and I do not believe it's final, I do believe that we move on to other things unknown. But there are realities why we were here. And I am in that business. Does anybody know who paid for Prince's funeral? This man was worth $156 million, and his family had to borrow money to bury him. George Lopez gave the family $20,000 as a gift. So when I was down in Kentucky and this gentleman was sharing this information with me, I started to think back, and some of you from this call over the last couple of months know I lost an advisor in South Carolina last October. Jeff was 57 years old and had a tree fall on him in the farm while working outside. Freak accident. But because it was COVID, and because he was his own advisor that wrote his own policies, one of the things that struck me was when his spouse called me, who I'd never met, never spoken to before, asked him for my help to decipher all this financial information that she had. So she started to send me documents from different insurance companies, brokerage accounts, all this stuff. And on the surface, you say, hey, he had life insurance, he had death benefit, they had money in the bank. But a lot of this stuff was tied up in his name. What I realized at that point in time is that the immediate moment, like my Uncle Ron, who just passed away on Wednesday, the family is going to need cash. Now, if you're married and you have a spouse and you have a joint checking account, right, money's available, right? Typically, there's some money and funds set aside. But it's at the loss of the other one that things can get squirrely. It took Sarah, Jeff Wiggins' wife, 7 months for the medical examiner to issue a death certificate with the cause of death. You would think natural causes, tree falling, how difficult could it be? But because it was such a freak accident, because of COVID, because these things, so you go, okay, well, that's a rare circumstance. So this gentleman started to share some statistics, and then I had Caitlin go and pull in New Jersey, and we started looking up some information. In New Jersey, it's 4 to 6. I saw 6 to 8. Now, they'll tell you on when you Google it, how long does it take to get a death certificate? Because that's what you need in order to get access any funds. So as we started to research this, we started to see a problem. The first is in New Jersey, you can get a death certificate supposedly same day. You get to go downtown to State Street in Trenton. Good luck with that. I just went to the state police yesterday, was sitting in the lobby for 20 minutes before a state trooper came out to the lobby to let me in to answer my question. Governments are short-staffed, overwhelmed. As much as they tell you on the surface, it looks like, okay, everything's taken care of. So this is real, right now, real-time data. But when I was in Kentucky, the statistic he shared with me, same thing, right? Texas. You know, a lot of our advisors are in Texas. So I was sharing this with them, 25 to 30 days. And so, you know, well, what are sources of funds, right? Where do people think they can access dollars? So they'll say, well, did they, you know, one of the first questions when everything's done, did they have any life insurance or annuities? I'm in that business. I'm a financial advisor. I'm licensed in life, health, annuities, long-term care, all this stuff. But what became evident to me, sort of as much as I know and as experienced as I am, it wasn't until Jeff Wiggins' death and his spouse who couldn't get, because the issue was, there was not a definitive cause of death for a death certificate for them to pay a claim. Brokerage accounts to transfer over, Transamerica, Allianz, they listen, they'll pay. The death certificate that was signed said cause of death unknown. That was the problem. Okay, so you set up this living trust. You got bank accounts with TODs, transfer on death, PODs, payable on death. I've been executor of estates. I've been trustees of estates. I know what is needed here. Power of attorney, right? Power of attorney is while they're alive. After they die, you need the will, the trust, or the executor, all these things. Final expense insurance, they sell. I used to offer this, right? Because final expense, you got modified whole life, right? All of these things require a death certificate. And that is a cog or a fly in the ointment. That's the challenge. So what was appealing to me was how to solve a problem before it's a problem for, you know, funds that typically people are going to give to their beneficiaries anyway. I have done 3 or 4 applications with this in the last week. It was amazing to me how easy it was done. It's a simple solution. You use money you already have. So we're not coming up with additional money. This is saying funds that you already sort of are holding. It's just in which pocket are you holding them? It's a single premium guaranteed, key word here, guaranteed issue by an A-rated insurance company. Basically, if you take 20 grand from this pocket, you put it in this pocket, guaranteed to pay, right? So up to age 99. The funds grow tax deferred. That's not really why we're doing it. But here's the key. It pays within 24 to 48 hours without a death certificate, meaning that the funeral home director is the only thing that they need to sign. And we don't have to borrow funds from a funeral home at probably above, you know, going borrowing rates, usury, right, laws. No health questions, does not matter as long as you are not in triple digits. So, you know, we're not doing this to get rich, leverage like traditional life insurance. It's only to make sure that the people that are in our life, that they are not burdened. And this is another scenario, right? So you have children, you got 3 children, who's the closest, who's taking care of mom or dad, they come by, they're taking care of them. They say, you know what, you guys are over there, I'll pony up the money and take care of this for right now, and you can reimburse me later. And then it doesn't happen. It causes problems. I've always said money makes people funny. So a way to do this, and it's not, we're not talking huge, you don't have to go nuts here. You can do this for as little as 2,500. You could do $5 grand 1 year, $5 grand next year. So it's just the maximum you can do is 100 grand. And it's not leverage. So if you put in, people say, well, how much is the death benefit? Doesn't matter. If you put in 20, that's how much you're going to get back. Yes, technically there's going to be $20,166 or some small amount, because it is technically life insurance and it is all tax-free. However, it's not why we're doing it. It's creating liquidity to the family at a point in time when they need it. So as quickly as 2 business days, that's where it just takes a lot of the stress that can typically happen off the table. So how do you fund it? So RMDs, right? I'm doing one right now where, I called him up and, he's got 3 kids. He's divorced, 73. He's taking RMDs now. And I said, hey, have you used any of your RMDs last year? He's like, no, this money's coming right out of my IRA and it's going right in the bank. He's got to pay tax on it the next year. I go, what if we do a 10% free withdrawal and go ahead and just do this so that, his son, who's the executor, doesn't have to deal with this nonsense. And I explained to him a lot of the stories I just shared with you, right? If you got some old contracts, you want to make them liquid, there's just things you can do. You got a brokerage account. There's mattress money. Like I said, I just did 2 apps for a couple. They were like, look, we got this money sitting in the bank, just sitting there because it's paying low interest rate. I said, let's just repurpose that. Not all of it. So we were able to do, on each of them, $15,000. That's roughly the average cost in New Jersey. You don't have to go nuts here, but it's just, to me, is smart and prudent. Folks, that's my call today. If we can be of service, I'm here to help. Thanks for listening to me, because I really needed to do that. If anybody needs me, please reach out. Stay well. Happy 4th of July. Hug the ones you're with. We only have so much time on this planet, and I really do appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedules to come visit. So, bye-bye.